Welcome back, everybody. This is your boy Jeremiah King on another episode of Code Bruh. Man, today is going to be juicy. We're going to be talking about how important sex is to men in a relationship. A lot of females are trying to understand why is it that men are always thinking about sex? Sex, sex, sex. Am I just a piece of ass to you? Why are you always trying to fuck me? Why is it that sex is on your mind so often? Many people just don't seem to understand from a man's point of view why sex is so important to them. And so, in today's episode, I'm going to dive deep as to the reasons why. So, thank you for joining me today on Code Bruh. Again, this is your number one podcast for women who need a sidekick and for men who need a voice. I'm your boy, Jeremiah King, and let's get right into it. All right. So the number one reason why sex is so important to men in a relationship is it's really about emotional connection. For many men, sex isn't just physical, but it's a way to connect emotionally with their partner and express love and affection and attraction. It might be hard to understand this from a woman's point of view, but for us, this is how we show you that we do love you, that we care about you. This is so important because really, a lot of guys are so simple. They just don't understand how to be more complex than this. And so, sex is the only way that we can, or we feel like we can show emotional connection towards y'all. And so, for ladies, this might not be something that you agree with, but for guys, you know what I'm talking about. You know, this is the only thing that we can give up to ladies to help them understand us from an emotional standpoint. Because when you're having sex with a man, it's so amazing. It's a good experience. And for guys, we're just in this trance, and this experience for us is so emotional that it allows us to fulfill that emotional gratification that we've been longing for. So, you guys, you know that this is true. For women, you have to understand that sex is so important to us. And the only way we can express our emotional connection to you is by having sex with you, which is why men are always thinking about sex, or that's the first thing in any relationship, or really any friendship. If you ever had a friend with benefit, that's the that's the focus is sex, right? Because we want emotional connection. We want to feel attached to somebody. Literally, my penis is inside of you. That's a way to connect with you. And so, emotionally, this is what we believe to be true as to the reasons why sex is so important, especially in a relationship. Number two is physical release and stress relief. Again, this is highly important. As you know, in today's society, we are all so stressed out about so many things. It could be business related, regarding our work, right? We can be so stressed out in our family situations, our kids, things that we deal with on a day to day that just have been compiling over and over again on top of each other, on top of bricks, and just exponentially growing worse. And so the way to relieve that pressure is through sex. So sex can be a way for men to release tension and stress and helps them feel more relaxed and just balanced in other areas of life. And so that's why men always focus on sex as their outlet to stress relief, to just feel better about their life and their emotions. And you might attest to this to be true for yourself that when you bust a nut, everything is so much better. And the same thing for men, because that testosterone is so high. And so when we release that, it's like a highest climax that you can never experience. For men, at least, we are always we're so trying to relieve that stress, and sex is just the number one way to do this, alongside of working out and other things. But that's why men are just focused on sex, especially in a relationship. You can't blame me for wanting to have sex with you. And especially when I'm stressed out, that should be good for you, right? Don't you want a man to just thrash you right in the bedroom, throw you around, toss you around? Like sex, having it being so rough and raw and just crazy. Don't you want that experience? And so for men, when they're having so many mental health challenges or they're just dealing with a lot of stuff, this is a way to relieve that stress. So that's why men are all about sex. So see it from a different angle, ladies. Another reason why affirmation and confidence. This is why men put a huge emphasis on sex in a relationship. Sexual intimacy often boosts men's confidence and their self esteem, of course, right? Making them feel so desired and appreciated by his partner, whether it's friends or benefits or in a relationship. It's just the thing to do. It affirms him as his leadership capabilities and his mindset. He just feels so confident, like on top of the world. Like, have you ever had sex with a guy and he's like, how was it? Was it good? Did you like it? Did you nut? How do you feel? You feel good? Shit, I feel great. I'm like, I feel like a new man. This is the things that we think about when we're having sex with ladies. It's just it affirms our belief systems and it builds our confidence. Like, yeah, I got that pussy. I had that on log. I was throwing it at you and you were throwing it back. That was real good. That was real good. I love that. How what you were doing with your tongue. Like, we feel so great when we talk about sex and we experience it at a whole new level. And so men are the same. Men express their toughness and their macho hoo-ha, hoorah in the relationship. And affirmation and confidence is the way they do that. And the only way to do that is to have sex with a woman. So that's why they're so focused on trying to have sex with as many girls as possible. So that way they can keep up with the Joneses, right? Keep up with their stature or just their confidence levels. Unfortunately, that's just a poor way of thinking for most men. I'm just going to be real and say that to you because I just believe that there's other ways to do that. But if you've been wondering why sex is always the number one priority for men, whether it's a friendship or friends with benefits, especially if you agreed, right? Consensual sex is very important. Make sure that you say yes. But especially in a relationship, for guys, we just need to have sex because it just affirms us and builds confidence. Another reason why it's so important for men to have sex and why they see it as a number one priority is that bonding and closeness. Men often view sex as a way to strengthen their bond and their intimacy in a relationship, feeling closer and just more connected to her. And that's just something that we know to be true. It's really human science, really. When a man is inside you, you are so connected. You're so in touch with that person, that soul. It's the same thing for men. We see it the same way, even though they are weird about it because pornography is a way that they kind of take the emotional connection out of things. But for true men, real men who understand how important this is, bonding and closeness is the way we can get connected, and the way we get connected is having sex. And so when we see this to be true, and that's the only thing that matters, is to get close to her as much as possible, really for actually bad intentions, because we feel like sex is the way to control y'all. That's how we get close. And that's why we want to have sex with y'all, because it's a bonding and a closeness technique that that's the only thing we know to do, unfortunately. And so for many men, they can agree on me with this, is that it's a way to strengthen that bond and intimacy in a relationship. So if ladies, you are wondering why he's always about sex, this is literally the reasons why is bonding and closeness is what he's focused on, which makes it a priority for him to have sex with you. Another reason why it's so important for sex to be the number one thing on his mind is communication of his desire. Now, this is so grand, grandiose. It's so big. It's like the most dominant thought of desire. Desire is everywhere. We all desire things, desire goals, desire dreams, desire so much more to life. We desire a perfect relationship, a perfect person in our family, in our friendships. We just desire, right? But the communication of desire is real when it comes to men and how they view sex, especially in a relationship. Sex is a way for men to show and receive a desire. That's the only way, is that it reassures them that their partner is still attracted to them, and that their values are there, and they value the physical connection. That's how they express it. And so that's why sex is predominantly a factor in a relationship, even in a friendship. And so you have to understand a man's mind. And that's how he expresses himself. He truly believes that this is the only way to communicate to her that she is worth it, that he's worth it. And by giving her the dick, giving her a time of her life is the way to do this. It's the way to attract her to him. This is why he focuses on sex, because it's not about just busting a nut. It's about communicating to her things that are not tangible, that are just intrinsic within him, for him to express it to her. That's why communication of desire is something that's innately in him, and why he's taken a precedence on sex and it being so highly important to him in a relationship. So I hope you see this a little bit differently. It's not just about him busting a nut. It's a way that he communicates a desire for her in that relationship. Another reason why men seem to have sex as a number one priority in any relationship is that satisfaction and fulfillment. Regularly satisfying sex obviously can contribute to a man's overall sense of happiness and that fulfillment in the relationship. And so it helps him feel more content, more happier, just more committed to you. If you are somebody who doesn't have a high sex drive, then you need to check yourself on this, because most men have high sex drives. And the reason being is because the testosterone and those chemicals and within his emotions are so high, bouncing off the walls, off the charts. And so you have to be able to keep up. But you have to see it differently. And it's not a bad thing for you to keep up. It's not a bad thing for you to increase your sex drive. Because if you can, then it's going to help them feel more happier with you and just more committed to you, because it's an attachment feeling, as I've been explaining to you. If there's no way to really get a man to feel attracted to you or just connected to you other than sex, if your pussy is so good and it's just your sex is so amazing and you do everything for him orally, sensually, physically for him, then he's going to be so much more drawn to you than if it's all about talking and things that are not sensual. I've seen it time and time again. People just break off because the sex is not there. In today's society, it's all about sex. Unfortunately, it's something that we don't agree on, because there's much more to life and much more to relationships, right? I want to feel valued and loved, and I want you to show your emotions, and I want to talk about life, and I want to plan and have kids. These things are all true, and these things are all important. But for men, they don't view it that way. But don't knock him for it. Don't think that he's nothing but a sex machine and that's all he's good for is dick. Because I've heard this story time and time again. I hear stories about men. That's all they're good for is sex and dick. That's if you view it that way. Why do you view it that way? Ask yourself, why is it that you're thinking it? that way? Why do you feel that all men are the same? That all men, that's all they want is to bust a nut. I'm explaining it to you from a man's point of view as to why sex is so important to man. It's much more than just busting a nut. Like busting a nut is just it doesn't even matter. It's so effortless and meaningless to bust a nut. Like this, I don't understand why women put such emphasis on why men just want to have sex. Sex is beautiful. It's a creation designed by God to connect man and woman together. But women don't understand man, and which is why it's so confusing to them as to why guys only think this way. It's about satisfaction and fulfillment, communication of desire and bonding and closeness. It affirms him to be a man and builds his confidence. Right? It's a stress relief and it's emotional connecting factor to bring two people together. It's much more than just busting a nut, but for men, because of testosterone that runs their life, this is why they have sex so often or just want so much sex in a relationship. You have to understand it from a different perspective. And that's why your boy Jeremiah King is trying to explain it to you. I hope this is making sense. Another reason, actually, an important reason why sex is so important to a man in a relationship is that there's a biological drive within a man in his DNA to have sex so often inside a relationship. You see, men typically have a strong biological drive for sex to fulfill his need, right? And the fulfilling of his need is so important for their physical and mental well being. It's just a scientifically, psychologically proven fact that by him having sex, having orgasms frequently because of the release of that tension and that those issues, and for him to relieve himself is so important and crucial to him. That's why he needs sex so often. So, ladies, don't be upset if your guy is all about sex. See it in a positive light. How can you make frequent sex a positive thing? How can you take from it? The only way you can take from that in a positive light is by you twisting it, seeing it differently, and contributing to that. And how can you tame him? Right? It's like taming a beast. You ever seen that movie Avatar? There's a perfect part in that movie that I love. And one of the avatars, the main character, the guy, was at a mountain and he was looking for the perfect dragon. And the girl, she had the perfect dragon because that's her thing. All of them, all the avatars had dragons, but he had to find his dragon. And the only way he could find his dragon was by attachment and sticking his hair into the dragon. But not every dragon, you know, accepted him. And so he found the right dragon, but he had to tame this dragon. And so once he was able to do that, the dragon was calm and relaxed. It's the same thing for ladies. You ladies, once you get attached to a man and you have him have sex with you or put his dick inside you and you are attached, this is how you can control the beast. This is how you can tame the dragon by understanding it, understanding him differently. This is highly important for you, for your relationship. This is how you have to see it. If you haven't seen that movie, go ahead and watch that movie. I'm definitely not going to drop a link down below like YouTubers say, oh, drop a link down below. Like, you should just go back and see that movie. It's a great movie. But this is so true. Men need that biological drive to be satisfactory. It's just innately in him. So don't see it as a negative thing. Another reason why men see sex so important in their relationships and why it's a priority in their relationships is a trust and vulnerability factor. Is that engaging in sexual intimacy can also be a way for men to show their trust, but most importantly, be vulnerable with their partner, deepening their emotional connection to you. You have to be able to understand how to draw men to you. I know a lot of women might disagree with this and they want to hold off and they see it differently, or they might have gotten information from their girlfriends or just probably did a little research to make a man wait. Yes, there are some truths behind that. Being being patient in a relationship. You have to understand that there is patience, but there's also pursuance of relationships. And one of those pursuits of happiness is sex, especially for a man. So that trust and vulnerability is how you can get him to open up because most men have their guard up already. They already are strong and macho and just they got guards up because our entire lives as a man, we had to learn how to suppress our emotions and not express them, not even to women, not even to women. And so, if you want your man to open up, having sex with him is how you do it because it allows him to trust you more, allows him to be vulnerable when you open up. Both of you guys are vulnerable, right? Obviously, your legs are open, and for him, his heart is open. The inside of him is open. And that is how you reach into a man. It's by sticking your arm out, opening your hand, and feeling his heart. You can tell a lot about a man when he's inside of you, or if you have that emotional connection, right? But if you're having casual sex and you just, do it just to do it, or you feel like it's just a simple process, right? Just to have sex with a man. That's not the way you see it. That's not the way to see it. You have to see it differently. Seeing it from this angle, you can allow a man to open up and you can do so much when a man opens up. But the only way to do that is have sex. So see things differently and you'll see different results. So trust and vulnerability is why men have often sex with their relationship. They want to open up, but they're trying to find the right person to do it with. So hopefully that person is you. Another reason why men see sex as a priority in their relationship is it's truly all about quality over quantity. I don't care what you think about this one. Men want quality sex, even though they might have sex often, or they just are finding different women and they're just trying to get it out the way. And a lot of men just are not educated as to how to express themselves or just what a man is. But quality is important to a man. And so in a relationship, if you're having sex with him, it's quality sex. It's not the amount of sex that you have that will help him feel better in that relationship. While sex is important, many men prioritize quality over men. This is true. And they value meaningful, passionate encounters over frequent but disconnected experiences. You have to see things differently if you want a man to love you for you, but most importantly, have him go far and beyond for you. Have quality sex with him. Don't just open your legs just so that we can get a nut, but it's got to be quality experience for it to change him and mold him and for you to feel him differently. If you're enjoying this podcast, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe for more. But I need you to share this. Let's make this go viral so ladies can understand what it takes to be the perfect woman, but really to understand why sex is so important to men in a relationship. Before I drop this last point that is the most crucial, because we can't grow without you. Please go ahead, share it, like, and subscribe so that way I can make more content like this. And hopefully, it allowed me to sustain myself. I'm doing this for free. This is all good information, good knowledge for you, good wisdom that I'm taking from my counseling sessions as a therapist, my mindset coaching sessions as a mindset coach, and really just the information and the wealth of knowledge that I have. This is all for free to help you understand men and why they see sex so important, such a priority in their relationships. The last point that I want to illustrate here is balancing expectations. Men appreciate when their sexual needs are understood and met, but they also value a balanced relationship with both partners and their desires and boundaries are respected. This is such a great point. It has to be a mutual balance. I don't care what you believe, it's not one sided. It's never one sided. Both partners, their desires and boundaries are respected in this regard, especially when y'all are having sex. You have to, ladies, you know how important sex is. It's sacred to you. It's a beautiful experience. And although you might feel that men don't seem the same way or feel the same way about that, they do. They just don't know how to experience and express it like you do. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why there's a difference. That's why they call it differences, right? That's why we are man and woman, two completely different people with different views. Nothing wrong with that. But it's important for you to understand both ends of the story so that we can have a whole picture and a full, loving, beautiful experience in your relationship. Okay. Now, I hope that this was beautiful for you to understand it from a different perspective, from a man's perspective, to understand why sex is so important to a man and why it's such a priority. But I don't want you to see it as just busting a nut or that he's just a dog because he wants sex. There's motives behind the things we do. It's always motives. There's reasons behind everything that is done. Any decision that is made is most likely backed by reasonings behind it. There's nothing ever done in vain. See it differently. See why the priority for men is all about sex. Now, it's about that emotional connection piece, physical release, and they're trying to, relieve their stress. It's a affirmation and confidence builder. They are bonding and it allows them to be close to you. It's a way for them to communicate their desire for you. It's another way for them to feel satisfaction and just fulfillment in life. They have biological drives. It's a way for them to feel and build trust and be vulnerable in their relationship. It's more so about quality than quantity. And most of the times, their quantity, they have bad sex with many women, bad experiences, which is why they're trying to find that one. So it's up to you to be that one unique unicorn. And it's a balancing expectation piece. It's not just one sided. Even though you might think that it's all about busting a nut, for him, he wants you to feel great. That's why he's trying to make you come, make you squirt, make you feel great, and make you feel head over heels for him. It's a balancing piece. See it differently, and you will have a beautiful relationship. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one. This is your boy Jeremiah King on Code Bruh as to how important sex is to men. in a relationship. Love you. I'll see you on the next video. I'm out.